Hi everyone, I am Alchemistic. Welcome to my channel. For those that are returning to me, I apologize about getting this video out so late on Sunday, and I'm hoping I can get it out today. I recorded this video actually yesterday after my live stream. I told you guys that I was going to do that, and I did do that. I had my Bible out, I'm going through the scriptures, I'm doing all the things. And then after I went to go edit the video and something happened with the video file and it got erased, we're going to give that good meaning. We're going to say that maybe I didn't say something in that video that needed to be said. So now we're going to redo it. I'm just doing it off camera, but I feel like that might be actually better for this message. So I'm going to be going over some scriptures here and talking about why impossible circumstances do not matter. But before I do that, hi, if you are new to me, I am Alchemistic. As I mentioned, I go over topics such as manifestation, law of assumption, and spiritual topics. If that's your thing, consider subscribing to me. Also, if you would like to work with me personally, my links to all of my services are in the description. And again, for those that are new to me, I am not religious. I am not Christian, though I was raised Southern Baptist. When I am going over Bible scriptures, it is my own interpretation. If you resonate with that, great, stay with me. And if not, that's okay. There is always so many great content creators out there that go over scriptures that you might resonate with. But let's go ahead and get into this. So first, I want to ask you guys, how many times have you looked at your life and thought, it's too late for me? It's too far gone. There's no way this can happen. That's exactly what it looked like for Sarah. But circumstances don't decide outcomes. Knowing does. Today, I'm going to show you through real examples in the Bible why circumstances don't matter when you know your outcome. So as I mentioned, we're going to talk about Sarah, and her story is one of those pivotal moments for me personally. I have told a few of you that this story, when I read it in the Bible when I was younger, was one of those pivotal moments for me that really opened my eyes to everything. Because of how my childhood was, because of the things that I was going through at that time, everything seemed next to impossible. Now, I had read the Bible multiple times before this instance, but many of you do know about my quote unquote death experience. And that happened when I was about 13. I had read the Bible a few times before that, but this particular story didn't really hit to me until after. So it was after my quote unquote death experience when I came back and I read the Bible again. And this story right here is the number one story that let me know that basically my quote unquote impossible circumstances were irrelevant, that I was above this, and that I didn't need to basically end my life in order to escape it. So we're going to go over that, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that as I'm going through this. And I am taking out my Bible, so you guys will hear me turning my pages and going to the scriptures. But I feel like that's better, right? Kind of like when I do it when I'm on camera. So Hebrews 11:11, through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful, who had promised. So the story of Sarah is that she was decades older and her womb was barren, right? She was well past childbearing age. People probably thought she was crazy for wanting a child at her age. But Hebrews 11:11 says she judged him faithful who had promised. She didn't judge the circumstances, she judged the word. You can be physically past the point in the natural, but the promise still stands. Now, how this opened my eyes when I was so young was, many of you know I grew up in very harsh circumstances. I was in poverty most of my life, especially during my childhood years. I didn't know where my next meal would come from. Water was constantly being turned on and off, electricity. The house that I grew up in was disgusting and roach infested, and I was constantly sick because of that. I was constantly made fun of at school because I didn't always have clean clothes. I didn't always have clothes that fit me correctly because they were hand me downs from my foster family. And I looked at those circumstances and I heard what other people were saying, like, oh, you're never going to amount to anything. You grew up in this family, you're in this environment. You are just doomed to this life of basically being a ghetto hood rat, right? And so I knew deep down, and I'm getting a little emotional, but I knew deep down that that wasn't my story. Even though I was being force fed that, kind of like Sarah was being force fed that she could not conceive a child, right? And so I read this story before my death experience, but then after, and after is when it all clicked for me. That's when it was like, oh, wow, I'm above my circumstances. And I literally changed my mindset. Now, did that happen overnight? No. But by the time I was 16, I left home and people thought I was crazy. Sure, I was homeless for a little bit, but then I rose above that. And now, as an adult, and even in my early 20s, people look at me and they're astounded and they don't understand how I came from where I was and where I am now, right? Kind of like with Sarah, where everyone was saying she couldn't have a child. And then she proved the promise. She proved that her knowing was above that. And that's why this particular story literally is, and I got emotional, and that's okay. Maybe that's why I needed to do this again, because I didn't get emotional the first time when I was recording this. But this right here proves that no matter what your circumstances are, if you're in poverty, you can rise above that. If you are past childbearing age and you want a child, you definitely can. Don't listen to society telling you that it's not possible for you. No matter what your circumstances are, everything is possible for you because the promise says that your knowing, your belief, your faith rises above that. Let's keep going here. So Exodus 14:13 through 16. And Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will shew to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. And the Lord said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. But lift thou up thy rod, and stretch out thine hand over the sea, and divide it, and the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. So let's think about that really deeply for a moment. Israel was trapped. Pharaoh's army behind them, a massive sea in front of them. Logically, there was no escape. But Moses didn't panic. He knew. He stood still in knowing, and the impossible opened up before him. So when you stop moving in fear and start standing in knowing, the waters will part. Again, no matter what the circumstances are in front of you. And with this, I've talked about this before with my cancer survivor story. I have been cancer free for over 20 years. Okay. When I was diagnosed with cancer, I even forgot the stage that I was at. Because, see, this is the thing. When you start shifting reality so much with becoming the new identity, you often forget the old reality. Okay. All I know is that the doctor told me I needed to go through all these treatments and everything else. And I said no. I told him no. I stood still in my knowing that it was only going to take one treatment. And I asked him when we were scheduling that. He told me to be more realistic. That was the C in front of me, right? You need to be more realistic. We need to do all of this. And I said, no, it's going to take one. When are we scheduling it? I stood still in my knowing. And because of that, it only took one treatment. Now, I said this in my live stream that many people have criticized me on this and saying that it's dangerous for me to talk about my cancer survivor story, but I don't see how, because I still went to the doctor. I still had my first treatment. Now, if I still needed additional treatments, I would have had them. See, that's the key difference. I knew it was only going to take one treatment, but if it needed more than that, I would have done it. However, what happened is after that first treatment, I went to my checkup, I had another biopsy, and the cancer was gone. And it has been gone for 20 years. Whenever people tell me you're in remission, I correct them right away. And I say, no, I am cancer free. I am cured. I am claiming what I am. Just as Moses claimed that his people would go free, that the sea would split. That is the difference. Okay. So when I talk about my cancer story, I'm not sitting here telling you not to go to a doctor. Absolutely, still do. But know that you are cured. Know that you are healthy. If you need to take the medicine to do that, then do that. However, it's not the medicine doing it. It is you. Everything is manifested through you, through the promise, through the word, through the I am. So, of course, the next example we're going to talk about, and I know you guys have heard this many, many times, but I want to see if I can give a different perspective on it, is, of course, the story of David and Goliath. And for this point, we're going to go over 1 Samuel 17:45 through 47. Then said David to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with a sword, with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. This day will the Lord deliver thee unto mine hand, and I will smite thee, and take thine head from thee. And I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines to this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. And all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. So, with this point here, David wasn't supposed to win, right? He was young, inexperienced, and physically smaller. But David knew the size of the promise was bigger than the size of the problem. He didn't focus on Goliath's armor. He focused on who was with him. So stop measuring yourself against the problem. The problem is already smaller than your knowing. Nothing is more powerful than your I am. I am, your knowing, your faith is more powerful than any circumstances you are facing, be it a giant, a sea, or a barren womb. But I do have another example here that I want to go over, so we're going to go over that. So, Daniel 3:17 through 18. If it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set us. So, with this, they were facing death in a furnace. No logical chance of survival, but their words were clear. Our God is able, and he will deliver us. They went knowing they were untouchable. They walked out without even smelling like smoke. The fire was real, but the fire didn't have the final say. So you need to really look at your life and let me ask you, what is on fire right now? What are you paying attention to where you're paying attention to the flames instead of paying attention to your faith and your knowing? That is the key takeaway on this. No circumstance can ever derail your knowing or your faith. So to wrap this all up here, Sarah's body said no. The Red Sea said no. Goliath's size said no. The fire said no. But knowing said yes. It's never about how it looks. It's about who you are when you know. Circumstances bow to certainty. Reality rearranges for the one who knows. So, if this video resonated with you, I want you to type in the comments, my circumstances don't matter. My knowing does. If everything in your reality looks delayed, blocked, or impossible, good. That just means it's time for resurrection power to show up. And as always, guys, it's my knowing that no matter who is watching my videos, this resonates with you. This touches something deep inside of you. It's just a reminder of who you are, what you are, and your power. It's also my knowing that no matter when you're watching my videos, day or night, you're about to have the best day or night of your life. And I already know that that's the case for you. Take care.